the founder of Being Indian Foundation. It is a very humble and innovative idea. Why? Wherever I have gone, I have seen Tamil Society of Dance and Music, Odia Association of Doctors, Bengal Handicraft Association. When I saw that this Being Indian Foundation, I was really impressed. That is what it should be. And unfortunately, the nation was divided at the time of independence into 550 Rajwadas. Later on, the states were created according to the linguistic method, which was a big mistake. To come out with an organization naming it Being Indian itself is a great achievement. I wish you all the best. Srimati Mausumi Kochai, the convener of this function, I as a veteran is appreciative and thankful to you. And Chinmay Das, the secretary, and the Devabrata Maharana, the president, thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to address this issue. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I see quite a lot of young faces. You must spend time with your Nana Nani and Dada Dadi at least 1 hour before going to bed. And ask them this history of this nation. Your parents may not be having time, they may not be knowing, but your Dada Dadi, Nana Nani will tell you the country's history and which you must know. You see, we cannot change our neighbors. We cannot change geography. We can change history. But the lucky ones only to get a good neighbor. Unfortunately, we are surrounded by rogue nations as our neighbor. And we have to live with them because we cannot change the geography. So, when they told me that they are inviting me to Vijay Divas, in all my mind, December was declared as Vijay Divas. And 71. I was a medical student then in my second year. But when it came to Vijay Divas of 1999, declared by Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee, I was a lieutenant colonel working in the command hospital Lucknow, where Prime Minister Sri Vajpayee visited the hospital to see the wounded soldiers, which I was taking care of with the team, and I had conducted him into the ward to see the wounded soldiers. So this is that one is that Vijay Divas, this is one Vijay Divas. Unfortunately, after even dividing the country into two, there was a backstabbing towards when Atal Bihari Vajpayee broke the protocol and decided to travel in a bus to Pakistan to sign the Lahore Declaration. The army of Pakistan was planning to backstab us. Their army chief refused to salute our Prime Minister, and he was planning backstabbing at the Kargil. You know why? Since 1947-48, there is a Srinagar-Leh highway which passes through Kargil, and all the logistic supply to the soldiers in Leh and above used to go into that highway through Kargil. So if somebody occupies a higher post in Kargil, our highway carrying ration for the Jawans from Srinagar to Leh will come under direct fire line. So our enemy country was always eyeing to that highway. So in a winter season, they came and quietly occupied our platoons, our posts, and when our soldiers went to our territory, they started firing us. It was a bit of surprise. Many of you must have read, or I will recommend you to read the book written by the then army chief who led the Indian army, General V.P. Malik, Kargil, from surprise to victory. How we lost 527 trained soldiers and 1363 soldiers got wounded is described vividly in that book. You see, the Lahore or Islamabad is not far away from Delhi. It is far away because of the Indian army. Okay? So, not only today, from 1947-48, then 1962, only my major ginata हूँ, 62, from 62 to 65, 65 to 71, then 1999, then up to Operation Sindoor. We had a terrible defeat by the Chinese army not because of our soldiers. वो गाना गाई ना, भर लो पानी. The Indian soldiers who were unprepared and least armed were forced to go to the Chinese border in utmost terrain, cold weather, and without even snow boots. This you must remember for the country's history. From there, we have marched up to Operation Sindoor. Because of our soldiers, scientists, technocrats, researchers, dedication. One of them is our Bodhisattva. Like the country has decided to look east policy. Even Prime Minister has told that look east policy in India, unless eastern states develop, India will not develop. In Odisha, now we have to look west policy. We always thought, oh, west is underdeveloped, coastal Odisha. Now the western Odisha has woken up and shown what western Odisha can do. Okay, coming back to my topic. You see, soldiers are remembered only at the time of need or crisis. And usually, when the crisis is over, the soldier is forgotten. I am happy that the organizations like Being Indian have dedicated their enthusiasm for the look after, honoring or remembering the martyrs. It's a great effort and they should be congratulated. Unfortunately, we have an enemy country close to us. Like they say that every country has got an army. Pakistan army has a country. They run the country, and whatever the army decides, the civilian prime minister and the president obey meekly and mildly. So that's the nation where the army calls the shots never improves, will become pauper one day. Now, you see, from 1947, you must know the history of your nation, otherwise you are bound to repeat it. When we got independence, because British ruled us for 200 years, the British never governed us. Governance is you take measures, do things so that mass improves, welfare of the country improves, the country's economy improves. Rule means you just force your will on the country, loot the country, suck the country, benefit yourself at the cost of suffering of the ruled nation. So remember, Britishers never governed us. They put rail lines only to take coal. They gave rail lines to you only to take timber. They stopped your cotton crop. They forced you to buy clothes from the Birmingham. So when they left, the country's economy was almost zero. 70% people were below poverty line. There was famine, flood. There were no street lights. You know, many old people will know, you have to have a license to ride a bicycle. And if you have not renewed a license, you were questioned by the police. Because street light, they were not there, you used to use a battery dynamo light in front of your cycle. You have to have a license to run a radio. This was our fact. And there was alternatively famine and flood. And the literacy rate was less than 40%. And the English thing was forced on us not to become officers, to become clerks, to become writers, take dictation from the English babus. That's why Calcutta Secretariat is known as Writers' Building. Okay? So, from there, we had a food revolution. We were eating the thrown out wheat, gehu of America, which used to come by ship under PL 480, so that we have a 2 square meals a day. A Prime Minister like Lal Bahadur Shastri gave a slogan, let us fast one day in a week. There was such shortage of food stuff. It is M.S. Swaminathan who brought a green revolution to your country. And gradually, by improving our, we became a food sufficient country. Then comes that milk revolution. It is called white revolution. George Varghese Kurian brought the white revolution. We were sufficient in milk products and dairy products. This is how we have come a long way from 48 to 2025, and with big leaders, with big vision, we will become definitely a developed country Viksit Bharat by whatever target our leaders have achieved. You see, now we have Indians who have discovered zero. Our doctors of India are loved anywhere, whole world. Our engineers run the technology centers all over the world. IT, space technology are the famous, and we have become one of the largest economy in the world with infrastructures, railways, airports, IITs, AIMS, IIMs, and whatnot. Wherever you go in India, the construction is going on. So we have a big future, and future lies in the younger generation. 70%, 80% of this country's population is below 35 years. So, young generation, this 35 years, now you are below 35, you have got 25 to 30 years with you. If you make this, we will make India developed country. But if you lose this 35 years, you will be all 70, 75, 80, then the country will be again later. So my appeal to the youth, when your previous generations have brought this country from no lights to no roads up to this, it is the mental is on your shoulders to take the country forward. What are the negatives? The quantity